Well, welcome everybody. Today we are joined with two new guests on our Freaky Friday guest story segment. We have Andrea and Haley here with Inhuman podcast.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you all so much for joining us.
Yes. Thank you for having us.
So y'all host Inhuman podcast. Haley, you also have a TikTok with a large following. You like to share breaking news and updates and cases. How'd y'all meet and start podcasting?
Yeah, we actually met through the YouTube community. We both kind of started out as lifestyle YouTubers and met through that community, and then just became close over various things, but partially of our love of listening to true crime podcasts. And one day I was listening to a story that I wanted to know more about and couldn't find a podcast that had more information about it. So I texted Andrea and I said, "Hey, would you want to start a podcast where we talk about this story?"
Yes, absolutely.
So that's how it kind of got started. And we've just been going from there, and we've gotten even closer. Andrea just came out to California for my baby gender reveal party, and she came to my wedding and things like that. So yeah, it's been really neat.
That's amazing. Well, first, congrats on your pregnancy.
Congrats.
And what are you having?
I'm having a little boy.
Oh, congrats. I have a little boy, and there's something about a mama and their son. It's very sweet. Yes. What was the case that you wanted to know more about?
So it was the Cleveland kidnapping of Amanda Berry, Gina DeJesus, and Michelle Knight. And we actually, the first 12 episodes of our podcast were completely focused on that story. We read their books. We dove really far into the whole story with that because we were just amazed by how they survived and escaped. They were held captive for many, many years, and they persevered and they escaped and are doing amazing things now. So we were just captivated by that, and that was kind of what we dove into at first.
I remember that case. That's harrowing.
Is that the one case where the neighbors saw her because she finally got out and ran out of the house?
Yeah.
Yes, I do remember that too. That was unbelievable. Yes, they are true survivors in every sense of the word.
Well, and y'all are praised for just how accurate you are and how responsive you are to breaking news. So how did you transition from that case to other cases? Like, how do you vet cases and decide what you want to cover either on TikTok or on the podcast?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a mix of, we have really awesome listeners who suggest cases and keep us up to date. I mean, both Andrea and I are very, active in the true crime community and following big case updates, but we also have awesome listeners that will suggest cases. And then other than that, it's a lot of, I'll let Andrea chime in too, but it's a lot of stories that, for me, the ones that I cover weekly are ones that I either heard of and wanted to know more, or had never heard of and couldn't believe I'd never heard of it, and just want to bring attention to it, whether it be unsolved and, it needs action and attention, or it being a solved case. The victims still deserve to be, their stories to be told and for them to be known. So that's kind of how I pick my cases.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We definitely cover the big cases that are sensationalized, but I think for Haley and I both, our focus is to find those smaller cases that people don't know about. Particularly, like for me, I want to spread awareness about missing persons, because I feel like once they get that initial spotlight, then they just kind of go to the wayside, and they need to constantly be brought back to the surface. So that's kind of what we do, is we try to bring it back to the surface and share those smaller, lesser known missing person cases.
I love that. The ones that people always ask us, what are the cases that stick with you? And the ones that always stick with me the most are the missing persons cases. Yeah. We've covered Bryce Laspisa.
Oh, yeah. Daniel Robinson.
Yeah. And then
Brian Schaefer.
Yes.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Because
those
you're right.
always stick with me.
Yeah, Andrea, you're right. Because there'll be a news cycle where they cover it. And then unless something is uncovered, it just falls by the wayside and it's left to just a small core group of family and friends.
Yeah.
So you're right. If you have eyeballs on your content already, it's good to direct those in areas that need it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And we'll have, go ahead, Andrea.
No, I was just going to say, and it's wild because, depending on the location, that they may only get local coverage and they don't get this national coverage. So, you know, in the true crime space, like we're given that platform to bring it to a more national, hopefully national,
international
attention. So, you know, we got to get them out there. Got to get those names out there.
You see, you know, old cases we've covered like Samuel Little or Terry, the chameleon, like you see that they committed crimes all across the country, but because the information and the investigations were localized, they were able to get away with it for so long. So in fact, sharing some information in some of these cases may help, you know, people in areas going, hey, I'm going to ask my local law enforcement, like, are you guys looking out for this? Because it might be something that's going on that, you know, there's been like a series of deaths in Austin and a series of deaths in another city. And you think, oh, well, it's on two different parts of the country, but old cases would tell us it could be connected. You never know.
Yeah, you never know.
Of course, law enforcement hopefully is looking into it, but there's nothing wrong with having citizens, you know, just keeping your eyes peeled.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And we always say you never know who might know something.
Exactly.
So you never know who might hear a podcast episode about it and know someone who knows someone who knows something about it.
Yeah. We were talking yesterday about how it's becoming more common practice where podcasts are the ones that kind of break a story open again, because it is something that like falls off the police radar and then it takes new ears on it, or people that are just like y'all, you're like, we're going to dive into this case and do like 10 episodes on it because their story is kind of being overshadowed by the perpetrators, you know, his whole thing. So being in like the ears of people all over the world that wouldn't hear that otherwise, I think we all are doing a good thing by using the platforms we have to kind of lift up those stories for the victims. Yeah.
They were doing it with Unsolved Mysteries, America's Most Wanted. And if eyeballs are less on television now and more on TikTok, or ears are on podcasts, then it's the same messaging. It's just packaged in a more consumable way. So
different media.
Yeah,
we just
100%.
need to all get trench coats like Robert Stack, like on Unsolved Mysteries.
We all need trench coats.
Just like nice khaki trench coats. So well, we hear you've brought some Freaky Friday tales for us. So Haley, do you want to share your Freaky Friday tale with us?
Yes, I am so excited to share this with you. And it's a story that my parents had told me years ago before I got into true crime. And then when I started doing true crime and more spooky, haunted stories, I kind of was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this happened. So if you guys didn't know, the Queen Mary is a ship that is known as being very haunted. And it is now a hotel and it's docked in Long Beach, California, so not far from where I live. And my parents actually had their wedding reception on the Queen Mary in 1995. And so I don't know how they did it because they stayed in that hotel. I would have been so freaked out. I'm out. But it's been haunted for decades, and there's stories of different, ghosts in the rooms and things like that. But the story that I have actually came from my parents' wedding photographer. And he had done a ton of weddings and receptions on the Queen Mary. And he said that one time he was in a room where there's an indoor pool. So, it's on a ship, there's an indoor pool. And he went in there and he set up his camera and he left the room, came back, nothing was off or anything. He turned away from the pool to look at something on his camera. And when he turned back around, there were ripples in the pool as if there had been something in the pool, but this was indoor. Doors were closed. There's no wind or anything like that. And he said that he was sure that there was some sort of spirit in there playing in the pool, maybe a young kid or something like that. But it really freaked him out because he was like, there's no way anything could have made these ripples without it being a spirit or a ghost.
Yeah. You look for wet footprints like leading away.
That would be so scary.
Yeah, that would be it for me. Goodbye.
Yeah, no, we're done with that. Oh, but did your parents have any spooky encounters during their reception?
Not that they told me about. I don't think that they were too concerned about the spookiness of it. But also, I'm sure there was a lot of alcohol being drank and things like that. So who knows? They might have had something spooky, or one of their guests might have. And I wish I could reach out to all their guests and ask them. But I've been to the ship too with my now husband, and we went when it was dark out. and not for a haunted tour or anything, but it was very, very eerie. Like
Mhm.
we didn't see or hear anything, but you could just feel the presence of something.
An energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder, since they say water is a conductor of energy and
that's
spiritual
true.
energy, if it sailed back and forth, like all the energy it picked up from all the people that have ever been on it. I wonder if that's why
Or
shit-
just
I
sitting in the
bet.
water.
yeah, or
still
sitting in
too.
the water
Yeah.
too, it conducts it. But yeah, your parents might have had, it might have been like the haunted mansion.
Also, why the pool
dancing,
trying to
yeah,
get
that's
back
right.
into his energy.
Oh,
vortex.
that's true.
If you're a ghost, I think you can go from the water to the pool, up, out, and then walk off. I think you can go anywhere.
There's
Yeah,
no rules.
probably.
Yeah, you
There's
make
rules.
your own rules when
You
you're
can do
a ghost.
anything you want when you're a ghost.
Yeah, I think so.
Right? That's the benefit. There's not a lot of benefits. There's some drawbacks to being a ghost, but one is travel wherever you want.
One of the benefits is you can go swimming in privacy.
Yeah,
You're like,
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about
just full nude.
yeah,
Skinny
however you wanna do
dipping,
it.
yeah.
Skinny dip. Yeah, no one's gonna. There's a photographer
Unabashed.
right there, and you're not even caught.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you can crash a wedding, and no one would even notice that you crashed the wedding. There could have been a naked ghost at your parents' wedding.
True.
Sopping wet naked ghost just going at the wedding cake. Y'all never know.
There could be a naked ghost wedding happening during their wedding.
There could be a naked ghost in this room right now.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I hope there
Yeah,
is,
that's-
honestly.
That's very true.
I
There
would love
probably
it if there
is.
was.
You should check their wedding photos and see if you've seen
Right? Yeah.
anything
Yeah, I
awry.
There might be. Yeah, you might have like orbs or something in the background. That's a cool place for a wedding venue.
Yeah,
though.
that is. Yeah,
That's a
I
cool
like
choice.
that.
Yeah.
It was very beautiful. And I totally would have followed after them, except for the fact that I am thoroughly freaked out by ghosts and spirits and could never bring myself there.
So you're not, yeah. Well, very cool story.
That's
very
awesome.
eerie little
Thank
ripples.
you.
Yeah, that's something that you see like in a movie
Oh yeah.
where it's
Yeah.
just
Sure.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
little
Pat, pat, pat.
yeah,
Oh.
little wet footprints or little wet handprints just coming up.
Oh my
on
gosh,
the
they're
pool.
clawing out of the pool.
Like dragging, like the
Yes.
ring.
Oh yeah, like a
Hoof
wet
prints.
drag
Yeah.
body mark. Oh
Ew.
no.
Yeah, we're
No.
freaking ourselves out now.
Yeah, really.
The photographer was like, it was some ripples.
Yeah. It's like,
We were like, there
I
were
was
corpses
really-
We're like
everywhere.
way over here now.
Stopping wet. There were corpses everywhere. Oh,
Naked,
man.
ghost
Yeah, everyone's
at a
nude.
wedding.
Yeah. Everyone ends up nude.
Amazing.
Well, it's awesome. Thank
I
you,
love
Haley.
all right. Well, Andrea, you have a story
Get
as
the
well.
floor.
I do. Mine's probably not as cool as Haley's, but so when I was a teenager and like in my early 20s, we had this, we called it the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house. So it was an abandoned house and it was off in the woods. No one lived there. It was dilapidated. It really should have been torn down a long time ago. It finally did get torn down back in like 2005 or 6. But, you know, as teenagers, we would go there to partake in things
Oh,
that,
yes.
you know, you might not be able to do other places. And every time we went, it was a new experience. So to get into the house, because the doors and a lot of the windows were boarded up, but the ones that weren't boarded up were obviously, you know, broken by people throwing rocks and things. So you had to kind of climb in through like a basement window. And it's a large home, 3 stories, just to give you a visual. And we would only go to like the basement floor and the first floor. The second floor, the stairs were completely rotted and like messed up. You couldn't get up there. So one of the times we were there, we were doing things. You know, I don't know how far I can go on your podcast.
You
but-
can go as far as you want.
Okay,
You
so
talk
we were
about-
about
smoking
whatever you want.
weed. We were
Yeah.
smoking
Yeah.
weed.
Yeah,
We talk about it all the
Yeah.
time.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So we're you know, smoking a little pot, you know, doing our thing, and all of a sudden we hear what sounded like an old school baby mobile.
Oh, like a
Mm-mm.
ding, ding, ding.
Yes.
Killing music.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yes.
Oh.
And it was
Oh.
coming from the upstairs, so obviously we couldn't go
Oh.
up there and investigate. But being that we were high, we were just like not really freaked out. We didn't really like book it out of there. But then another time we went back, there was candle wax and there was blonde hair, like
Ooh.
copious amounts of blonde hair on the floor.
Oh.
So yeah, it
Enough
was a
for you
really
to notice.
Yes. I mean, there was all kinds of weird things. People went there to smoke pot, have sex, do all that stuff. So
Yeah.
there was
Those-
always some questionable items, beer cans, beer bottles, stuff like that.
Jeez.
But the candles and the baby mobile and the blonde hair, that just kind of This kind of took us out. So,
but
I'd be out.
Wasn't enough to prevent you from going back, and that's what we like. It's perseverance.
No,
like, this isn't going to stop me.
It was not, because it was like a surefire place that we could go to smoke weed.
And honestly, if there's creepy baby mobiles and hair and wax keeping other people out and you're chill with it, it's like available.
They're like, well, also, and they're cool with you.
Yeah. And the
like,
ghosts
these people are cool, whatever.
Yeah. You let them play their music. They let you do whatever you want downstairs. You're like, we're cool. All right. Yeah. Nobody's here to yuck anybody's yum.
I've talked a lot before about a place that we used to go in high school called The Pipe, which it was it was outdoors, but it was for the same reasons y'all would go to this house. And it was in the woods. It was very creepy. Looking back, I'm like, the things we did at 16.
Oh, no.
Knowing now what I know then, I'm like, what was I ever? How did I make it?
How are we alive?
No, I really honestly don't know. I've could have been kidnapped so many times by this point. Yeah. But the 3-story Texas Chainsaw Massacre house, we
such a visual.
Obviously are from Texas. Yes. So that is still one of the scariest movies I've seen. The original. It's something about it being daylight when it goes down that just gets me. It hits different.
Yeah, you don't expect it during the day.
No, you don't. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That house looked just like the one from the original.
Oh, well, y'all are, that's the determination of a teenager to get high. They're like, I'm going to go to this house where probably I'm going to get killed, but I'm still going to do it.
We're going to go. We had one like that.
Yeah.
In our hometown, and they called it Motley Mansion. They eventually tore it down or whatever, but it was this like rumor that if you went up there that the ghost of the owner would like be in the window, or the actual owner. I was like, I think someone still lives there, because you didn't go out. I think you just went outside
was it the same person and they didn't know if he was dead? It's like, it's either him or
he never leaves his house.
Yeah. That you can probably figure out if he's alive or dead.
If you just wait long enough. Yeah. Does he file a tax return?
Or does he have an obituary?
You're like checking his mail.
Yeah. Just do a little digging.
Social Security, still where his Social Security number.
Did you go to the Motley Mansion?
I did not, though, because I was we always joke that.
Yeah, we're polar opposites in this way.
She was the cool kid, and I was like, I'm going to get in trouble. I can't go. I'm the one that when we snuck out of my house, I told my sister, I have to go to the bathroom. She's like, so you have to sneak back into the house, and then we have to sneak back out again. And I was like,
you're making this triple hard.
And she's like, no, I'm going to leave you. I said, I'll wake up mom and dad and tell I'm the worst.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. No. So I would not have been at your cool 3-story house. No, it was number 2, you guys.
Oh,
so it was bad. I was a nervous bathroomer, and I was
that's what it was.
Yeah.
You were like, I'm going with my cool sister.
Finally, I woke up when she was
nervous
shits. Yeah, that's just like
the nervous shits. Yeah.
It's the microcosm of my entire life. Is like I had a cool opportunity and I had to go to the bathroom and ruined it. It's okay.
Yeah,
all right.
That's totally me too.
That does sum up a lot of your life. That is
my whole life. Yeah, I would not have made it to your 3-story house, because I probably would have been like, we're going to stop the quick trip and go to the bathroom.
Right? No,
but house though, man, that's creepy.
That's amazing. And where was that? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in South Carolina.
Okay. Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
I could tell, I heard a bit of a Southern accent, but I wasn't sure. We get it all the time that y'all's accents are great. And I'm like, I don't
normal.
have an accent.
I talk regular. So,
but, are y'all both from Texas? Like originally? Okay.
Yeah. Do we sound like it?
Well, Christy,
I think you do.
Your voice is very proper. So I don't hear it until you say like y'all or something. Yeah. But Heather, like I can definitely hear you.
Christy, she's from Fort Worth.
We had different
from
as far
private
as
school upbringing.
As far as the city goes.
Yeah. But, the city goes. I'm from like the more country suburbs, a train stop that then turned into a suburb. So
I pick it up more when we hang out pretty much
constantly
24/7. So I do sound more Texan now than I probably ever have in my life.
No joke. There's been stuff that you said recently and you're like, where's my whatever? And I was like, oh, she's got some of that McKinney twang. Sorry, I bled over.
I think I always heard until the podcast, you don't sound like you're from Texas. Everyone would always tell me that. And I think it's because I did a lot of theater. So
they kind of get it out of you.
Yeah, you had to do so much diction work and everything to have a neutral accent that it's kind of been but now
Yeah.
Now it's back,
They
baby.
get you like
Now it's
Eliza
back.
Doolittle.
You hang out with Heather for a while. You
For
can't
5
not
seconds.
be talking like this. What are you talking about?
Like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a King of the Hill character.
But a South Carolina, Texas Chainsaw Massacre home.
Yeah.
That's
South Carolina
deep
Massacre.
South, Backroads, Texas, deep South woods.
Oh,
Those
yeah,
are two
like
places I never want to find myself.
Fan boat.
No.
Yeah, low country stuff. So
And that's why I live in the city.
Yeah, that's right. You're like,
But
that kind of shit doesn't
you
happen
spent
here.
time out west, and she has
I
a little bit
did.
of a Midwestern accent. I
Oh,
also
yeah?
lived in Northern Virginia for a while, so my Southern accent used to be a lot heavier.
Oh, really? Yeah, he's that
Believe it or
Virginia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I went to college in Indiana, and a lot of people there were from Chicago. And so while I was there, I picked up some of the Chicago accent just a little bit. Every now and then it'll come out. But
yeah, I love that. Heather lived in Chicago too.
Yeah, it'll
But
come
I
out
love
sometimes.
that
Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we're there too.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like I was watching something popped up on YouTube, and it was a clip from WGN. So I'll watch WGN news sometimes and be like, oh, and they were interviewing people, and they're like, oh man, and I was like, oh, it sounds like all my neighbors used to sound. I miss all my old Chicago friends.
We love Chicago. We say it's our favorite city, including our own city.
Listen, it's better.
Our city's number 2.
Dallas,
maybe
ish.
It's in the top 10.
Yeah, there you go. Hey,
we're traveling more.
I live in Los Angeles, and I don't even put that in my top 10, so
yeah. I don't think LA is in my top 10 either.
No,
but I
live in the suburbs of LA, like closer to the beach, so it's not like city.
Yeah.
So it's
I'm
a little
big,
nicer.
Northern California fan.
Oh yeah, Big Sur.
Yeah,
it's
I love
so
Northern
nice up
California.
there.
Yes,
it's beautiful.
But I also love San Diego, so.
Oh, same.
LA is great too. We're coming to LA soon.
You can find,
so
right. We're all shitting on LA. We're going to be in LA June 9th, so we'll be there on tour. And we'll be in San Francisco.
Speaking of tour, we're plugging ourselves. Where can everyone find you all?
Yeah, you can find us everywhere you listen to podcasts, Inhuman. And we all are also on Instagram at Inhuman_podcast. And we have a Facebook group, Inhuman, a True Crime Podcast. But we're everywhere you want to listen. And we'd love to have you guys. Oh, yeah, we're on TikTok as well.
Plug your TikTok.
Yeah, what's your TikTok handle?
Yeah,
Inhuman Podcast.
Andrea handles our podcast TikTok, and then I'm also on TikTok at Robin Haley, which it's only me. My husband's name is Rob, but that's been my username for too long, and I can't change it.
Yeah, you look on it and you're like, it's just Haley, but that's okay. Rob, Rob is there supporting.
He's in the background. He's doing stuff.
Yeah.
Do y'all have anything you're working on right now? Any cool upcoming things?
Episodes or you're excited about?
We have some kind of bigger cases that I think we're going to try to cover here soon that we've gotten a lot of requests for. And we also are planning to soon launch new merch that we're really excited about. So yeah, you can check all of that out on any of our socials, and we have a website, inhumanpodcast.com.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, we'll make sure to link it all in the show notes and everything. Well, thank y'all both for being with us today. We really appreciate the time.
Yes.
And,
you're so fun to talk to. I hope our paths cross again.
Yeah,
and we're going to be in LA in just like a month. So
if I haven't given birth yet, I will try to come hang out with you guys.
When's your due date?
June 30th. So I think I'll be okay.
It's after our show, but only by like a week and a half. So if you want to come sit for an hour and a half as a 9-month pregnant person, you're welcome. But I know that you don't, because I've done it twice. So don't
You don't want to do anything when you're 9 months pregnant.
No, not at all.
We will not hold it against you. But if you come and you go into labor, she's had 2 kids. She could probably help.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We'll work out.
Perfect.
Emotionally, I don't know about
physically,
but I'll be there
like, all right, I'm ready.
She can talk you through it. Chrissy's great. She coaches me through life all the time. So I believe she can do anything. But yeah, well, we appreciate y'all being with us.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much for having us.